Hi, my name is Miss Christy. I have the best job ever because I get to bring you art projects. So I'm really happy to be with you today. We have been doing art projects since the beginning of the school year, and we've talked about a lot of different things. We've talked about art terms like lines and shapes and colors, and we've talked about science terms like solids, liquids, and gases. Today, we're going to be talking about migration. Have you ever heard that word? Migration or bird migration. Lots of different animals migrate. And what that means is they travel from one side of like our continent, North America, to the other. So they go from the north to the south. So today we're going to be drawing a pelican, and all we're going to need for our project today is a pencil and a piece of white construction paper. What we're going to do is we're going to draw in all of our details, and then our next class that we're together, we're going to color them in. So what I need you to do is get your white piece of paper, and we're going to fold it twice. First, we're going to fold it in half. You're going to match up the corners and fold it in half one way, and then match up the corners again and fold it in half the other way. And what this does is it gives us some creases in the paper that you can follow as I'm instructing you to make different shapes and lines. So I'm going to be drawing up here on the wall, but you'll be on your desk. Take your time, and if you need some help, just raise your hand. So the first step is to find the middle of your paper with your finger. Just point here. You'll see that the creases in the paper crisscross in the middle. You're going to draw on your paper with it positioned side to side or horizontal. This is called landscape. If we turn the picture the other way to where it's vertical, that's a portrait. So we are creating a landscape today. The first step is to point to the middle and trace your finger up to about the middle, between the middle of the paper and the top of the paper. You see that? Okay, here we're going to draw an oval. Not too big and not too small. Watch me first, and then you try. So I'm going to draw an oval right here. You can see that it's not really very big. It's just about the size of maybe 2 or 3 of your fingers. So you go ahead and try that. The next shape we're going to make, find the middle of your paper again and trace your finger to the left, right in the middle between the left side of your paper and the middle. Do you see that? We're going to draw a bigger oval. Watch me first. This oval, it's not going to go all the way to the end of your paper. You're going to have a little space between this shape and the edge. Make sure you leave a little space here. We're drawing in pencil so that if you make a mistake, you can just draw over it. So say I wanted this shape to be a little smaller, I would just draw it a little smaller. And I can leave this here. Don't erase, because we're going to be coloring over all of this, and none of your pencil marks are going to show. The next step is to connect these two. I know it doesn't look like a bird yet, but everything in nature is made out of shapes. So you can see in these pictures of pelicans that the pelicans have a round, small head and then a long beak. So whenever we draw the neck of our pelican, it's going to be a skinny neck that's shaped like an S. Hold your pencil in the air and draw an S in the air. Can you do that? S. A big S. Now watch me draw an S. I'm going to start at the top of this oval, which is the pelican's head. This is the top of the S. I'm going to come around and I'm going to stop right where his body is. So it's an S curve. And you can keep going along the back of the, you can keep going along the top of this oval. So curve down and around to the right and then back to the left. And then we're going to follow that line under this smaller oval. You're just going to draw one curved line. And that is the neck of our pelican. Remember, you don't need to erase. If you made a mistake, just redraw it. Say that I thought maybe this line was too much, too wide. I could bring it in a little bit, like this. We're going to be coloring over all of that. Next, we're going to draw the beak. And the beak is a really long triangle. How many sides does a triangle have? 3. That's right. Triangles have 3 sides. So we're going to draw a triangle right here. And this triangle is going to point down toward the right bottom corner. But we're not going to go all the way down there. Watch me draw my triangle and then you try. So I'm going to start up here on the right side of my oval, and I'm just going to draw a line going down past the middle line here. We created those creases so that you could see how far you should go. And it's not very much farther than that line. So you go ahead and try and draw the first part of your triangle and stop right there. The next part of the beak is going to start right here where the neck is, right under the middle part of that oval. You're going to draw the rest of your triangle. So you can see there's a curved line in the bottom of this triangle, and then it goes out and back up. So there's our 3 points. 1, 2, 3. We're going to draw a line here in the middle, and that's where the bird opens its beak to catch fish. We can draw the eye, and you're going to follow this line up and draw a circle. Have you ever seen a pelican before? They're very big birds. They're almost as big as you are. And they can live to be about 20 years old. And a lot of them live here in Louisiana, down on the coastline. And when they migrate south to Mexico. But they need those eyes to see long distances so that they can catch fish in the water and get to the places that they're going when they migrate. So did you draw your eye in yet? Oh, good. Okay. So I bet you're ready for the wings. Let's draw the wings. Watch me first and then you try. We're going to draw a wing coming up toward the top of the paper, but we're not going to draw it all the way there. So watch me first. I'm going to draw a line that's diagonal, and then I'm going to stop. Don't go all the way to the edge. So this is a straight diagonal line going up. Next, you're going to draw a bit of a curved line going out to the left side of the paper, just below the corner. So you can point to this spot right here, just below the left corner, and draw your line to your finger. Did you get it? Good. Okay, don't draw any feathers yet. We're going to draw all of our bird parts and then we'll draw in some feathers. The next step is to draw the other wing, and we're going to draw it from down here. Watch me first and then you try. I'm going to make another diagonal line that's going down toward the bottom of the paper. I'm going to cross over this middle crease line and stop. So you try that. Start at the bottom of his body and draw a line down and stop. Very good. The next part of his wing is another curved line. You're going to start right here where you stopped before, and you're going to draw a slight curved line to the very bottom of the paper. That's right, a curved line to the bottom of the paper. So these birds have a huge wingspan. That means that from tip to tip, their wingspan can be almost as tall as you are. They're really, really big birds. The next thing we're going to draw is a triangle for his tail. You're going to come to the left side of your big oval, and you're just going to draw in a little triangle that kind of looks like a fishtail. So you go ahead and try that. 1, 2, 3 points of our triangle for its tail. And remember, don't draw any feathers in yet. We're going to do that next. All right, so to make his feathers, we are going to be creating a kind of texture. And with your pencil, we're not going to be drawing hard. We're going to be drawing very lightly. This is just a guide for when we come in and do our colors. So the basic shapes of feathers are kind of long, skinny ovals. So you're going to start right here at the point where the wing meets the body, and you're going to draw some small ovals along that line. Can you see that? All along the wing, some small ovals. You go ahead and try that. As soon as you finish doing that, we're going to do the other wing just like that. And while you're working on that, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about pelicans and bird migration. So why do birds migrate? Does anyone know? Birds migrate during the fall season. They fly south because they are looking for warmer weather. They're looking for where their food is, so they're looking for big schools of fish so that they can dive down into the water and scoop those fish up in their big beak. So that big beak has something that's called a pouch. And in that pouch, they can hold up to 3 gallons of water. Can you believe that? That's like 3 milk jugs of water. That's a lot of water. So what that pelican does is it dives down into the water as much as 30 feet from the water in the air, and they scoop those fish up and fly off, and they dump that water out of their beak, and then they swallow the fish. Sometimes when they're dumping out the extra water, little birds come in and try to steal the fish from their beak. Little thieves in the air, they're trying to take what the pelican caught. So these birds have a very special beak that's almost like a fishing net. Did you finish your little ovals? Good. Okay. So let's keep going. Teachers, if you ever need to pause the video to let students catch up, please do so at any time. So we're going to move on to the next set of feathers. So these birds have almost like three different levels of feathers. They have these small feathers right on the wing bones, but then they have some middle feathers that we're going to draw in. And this oval is just going to be a little bit bigger than the ovals that you drew before. So you're going right over the top of those small ovals with a medium-sized oval. And just fill it in all the way along the wing. So when a group of pelicans fly together, do you know what that's called? It's called a pod of pelicans. And whenever they are in groupings, when they're fishing, and they'll actually work together to herd or bring a school of fish into one area, and they'll all dive into the water to catch those fish together, and it's called a fleet. Just like in the Navy has a fleet of ships. Well, in this case, it's a fleet of pelicans. Did you draw your medium-sized ovals yet? Good, okay. So now we're going to move on to the last set of feathers. And these are much longer feathers. You can see in the wing of this bird that the feathers in the middle are kind of a light color, and then the long feathers at the end of the wing are brown. So we're going to be drawing those long feathers, and you're just going to come out much farther with these feathers. And again, it's just long, skinny ovals right over the top of the ovals you already did. All right, now you're going to do the other wing the same exact way. You're just going right over the top of your small and medium oval with a long oval. And then we're going to do the same thing with the tail, a series of small ovals and then a series of longer ovals. So they use that tail for balance. When they're flying and they're turning and they're trying to avoid hitting another pelican, they'll use their tail to kind of move in the air and steer themselves. These birds are beautiful and graceful in the air, but if you've ever seen one walking around, they're really goofy. They're like the clowns of the bird world. They wobble around, and it seems like it's really hard for them to walk around on the ground. but they do, and that's where they build their nests. They almost always build their nests on the ground. So if you've ever been down to Grand Isle or any of the places down on the Louisiana coast, you might have seen these birds making nests with the materials that they find. Sometimes it's grasses and sometimes it's trash. Did you draw all your long feathers? I'll give you just a few more seconds to finish up. So when these birds are nesting, the female bird will build the nest and the male bird will bring her material to build that nest. So they work together as a team to create a home for their chicks. And when they lay their eggs are small and kind of a brownish gray color. So you've probably drawn in all your feathers. Now we're going to create the landscape around the bird. Does anybody know what a horizon line is? Have you ever heard that before? Maybe some of your other art teachers have talked about it. A horizon line is basically as far as your eye can see. Say you're on the beach and you're looking out over the water. As far as you can see almost like it's a line that divides the water from the sky. So that's the horizon line, and that's what we're going to draw. But in this case, instead of putting it in the middle, we're going to put it toward the bottom of the paper. So I want you to point to the bottom left-hand side of your paper and draw your finger up. So you're going to be about right here, and you're going to start with your pencil, and you can draw a wavy line because this is water, and you can just go across, stop at the wing, and then start up again on the other side of the wing and keep going to the edge of the paper. If you want, you can draw a little dot here and a little dot here and connect the dots. This is our horizon line. And the landscape that we're drawing is going to be bird's eye view. Have you ever heard that before? Well, in this case, we are looking at this picture from a bird's eye view. That means we're above the horizon. Do you know what it would be called if we were down on the ground looking up? It would be called a worm's eye view. So we would be looking up at the horizon. So in this case, we're drawing a bird's eye view. The next part is we're going to draw in a little bit of the marshlands. Louisiana has the river delta, the Mississippi River Delta, and it also has huge marshlands that go across the bottom of the state and meet the Gulf of Mexico. In this area is where there's a lot of fish and birds, and there's a beautiful habitat that kind of protects our coast from those hurricanes that come in. So we're going to draw a little bit of that down here. Watch me first and then you try. It's just a very simple set of wavy lines, and then you're going to come back as if you're drawing a zigzag line. It's a little bit of a zigzag and a wavy line. You can see I'm not trying to make a straight line. I'm trying to give it a little bit of a wiggle to give it some texture. Have you ever heard that word before? Texture? Well, texture is when you see a surface that looks like it has a certain feeling to it. So like my shirt has a texture, the wall has a texture, the paper has a smooth, soft texture. Well, in the case of this, we're going to be drawing just some little lines just to say this is where the grass is growing. So these tiny little lines are grasses, and they're vertical lines. Vertical lines are lines that go up and down. And you don't have to draw a whole lot of them. I just want you to remember that this is grass. The last part is our pelican is flying with other pelicans, and they are all flying together. They're going to go south to Mexico to find that food and warm weather that they're looking for. But these birds are farther away, so they're not going to be in focus, and you're not going to see its beak, and you're not going to see its feathers. So we're just going to draw a series of small shapes and lines. So watch me do the first three, and then you try. So right up here on the right-hand side, trace your finger from the corner over a little bit and then down, and you're going to put a little oval. Go ahead and try that. Very good. So now watch me draw these three. So I'm going to put another one right here, a little bit smaller, and another one right here, a little bit smaller. I'm going to fill it in, and then I'm going to draw its wings. Watch this. They're very simple wings. They come out, stop, and then bend. And then out, and then bend. And then this one will be a little bit smaller. And they don't all have to be the same. You want them to look a little bit different. So go ahead and try those three. And I'm going to draw in a couple more little tiny ones. The smaller they are, the farther away they are. So after you get your first three, you can draw in a couple more. There's usually 10 to 20 birds in one pod of pelicans. A group of pelicans is also called a pouch, a scoop, or a squadron. There. So I want to thank you for drawing this picture with me today. We're going to save these pictures for next time. And the next time you see me, we're going to color them all in. So teachers, please put these aside. Have the students write their name on the back. So I'm going to show you what to do with that. On the back of your paper, I want you to write your name. My name is Miss Christy. I want you to write your name. Not my name, but your name on the back of your paper, so that whenever your teacher gives them back to you next time, we can know whose artwork is whose. Remember, this is your artwork, so I want you to be proud of it, and I also want you to try and draw something every day. Try to make art every single day. And you can share it with us on our Facebook page for the Acadiana Center for the Arts. We would love to see your artwork. Thank you so much for being with me today. Have a great day.